Okay, people, welcome back to another Fwoosh review. As always, I'm Wade, and today we'll be taking a look at moi and this guy, Wade. Alright, this is Cable. Don't make me lay you out. Laying Cable? Go f yourself. This review was sponsored by Dorkside Toys. If you like toys, turn to the dork side. Now, I don't have to tell anybody that I'm a huge fan of Deadpool. Always have been since back in the 90s, since he first showed up. Well, I haven't read a lot of modern comics, but what I do read, I do enjoy. I didn't care too much for the extra voices in his head that came along with some of the modern books. I can't remember when that happened. And along with that comes with at least a respect for Cable. At some point, when you think of one, you kind of think of the other. Of course, Cable came along first, but you can't deny Deadpool brought him on into the mainstream, especially with the new movie coming up soon. Now, looking at the packages, it's your standard Marvel Legends packages, box, window, figures. Cable looks pretty full. Deadpool's looking a little bit sparse. He doesn't come with a Build-A-Figure, and it looks like Hasbro just went, you know what, it's Deadpool, he's gonna sell, just throw him out there, give him a couple swords. Because even the X-Force Deadpool that comes in this same wave comes with 2 swords, Sasquatch's head, and then a couple of weapons. It's okay. Like I said, it's Deadpool. He's gonna sell. On the sides, we get comic reference art. I like both of these. I especially like that thumbs up for Deadpool. On the back, pretty promotional pictures, bios, the wanted posters. I love these things down across the bottom. And then here you have the warnings. The unreadables probably says something like, this one's gonna constantly piss this one off, so separate on shelf. On the side, again, pretty comic pictures. On top, the Deadpool logo. And then on bottom, legalese, warnings, UPCs, whatever. I'm going to get these out of the package and see if I can get them posed together in some Liefeldian greatness. And there we go, all out of the package, and while there's a shitload of 90s goodness packed into plastic form here, there is a little bit of frustration with both figures. Looking at the sculpts on both, these are both mostly reuse. Not the overlays, but the base bodies themselves. Deadpool uses the Spider-Man 2099 body, which I think is the Sunfire body, which I usually refer to it as because less syllables, lazy bastard. And then Cable uses the chest, the right arm, and the legs of Nuke, I believe it is. I never got Nuke for whatever reason, but looking at pictures online, it looks like the same sculpt. But then there's the overlays. Those are the new sculpt pieces. You have Cable's big ass shoulder pad things coming over the top. You have his loose necklace type situation going on. And then for Deadpool, you have the belt, the scabbards, the straps coming over, and then the right thigh full of pockets strap thing. Paint on both are pretty basic. I don't see a lot of slush. Oh well, I'll go with it. On Cable, it's mostly fairly clean, but on Deadpool, I noticed the black is a little bit thin in places, and on top of that, a scratch on his left thigh, kind of, you know, red showing through the black. And then get up to the heads for Deadpool. What more could you ask here? You see the sculpt going around the black of the eyes, well, the black pattern around the eyes. I kind of wish that followed down into the body, but I understand the need for reuse of the bodies. But the silver of the eyes is brought up from the chest buckle, so it kind of ties the whole figure together. And then for Cable, the hair here is so Liefeld, it hurts. There's almost too much detail, but it works for the character and the style of that time. And not having any eye paints really works here. It's a very basic paint. I think the head is molded in that base flesh color. Whatever's attached to the left side of his head, covering his ear, it again, just total 90s. And you can see the scars on the right eye, but while I like the light up left eye, I wish it was removable somehow. I don't know how they would have done it without having a peg hole right in the eye. I guess it's okay being on all the time. I just wish there was options here. Cable is where most of my frustration comes in. The joints are kind of clicky. The detents are really heavy, especially on this right shoulder. I can't get it to go up without just forcing the hell out of it. I'm afraid I'm going to shear off the bicep swivel there. And just from pressure being there, the right elbow has loosened up really, really badly. It just flops back and forth. See? Pop. Left arm, not so much. It comes up. It only gets to there, but at least it moves. And then another problem I've been having with Hasbro a lot lately is the detents in the ankles. They don't really, well, okay, there you go. He stands up. You have to find that middle ground for him to actually balance and stand up. And with most of the Marvel Legends lately, they've been leaving a lot of stuff loose, especially the overlay stuff. But with the shoulder pads, they float on the shoulders, which I guess is okay to get out of the way if it needs, comes back, I wish they were secured, though. And that's just a simple matter of gluing. That's not really a gripe. It's just, you know, why do I have to do it? I know, calm down. And then the loose collar, pouch, bucket, whatever's around his neck here. I see that it's supposed to be a collar now that the colors match from shirt to here, but it's loose. I may glue that down, but on top of that, it comes up around his head to where it kind of hinders movement too. But if you really, really want to, you can pop the head off, remove that necklace. I keep calling it a necklace. It's a collar, I know. And pop the head on. It gives kind of a cleaner look. And if the shoulder pads were right up on them, I kind of like that better. For Deadpool, you can see what I was talking about. The black is completely scratched off right there. And then on the right, on the thigh swivel, if I line up the black detail there, his knee kicks to the inside and you can see his toe kicks in too. So I have to turn a little bit. But the good thing about that, it comes up, kind of covers. You can still see it's off, but not as noticeable. And then he has a little looseness to the joints too, in between the detents. It's not terrible, but you notice it when you're posing it. And then there's the duck feet that usually come with this body. It's okay. It kind of fits into the aesthetic of this being a 90s Deadpool. So, not bad, but you can see there's some looseness there. But I like this rubber piece for the collar. I like these pieces. I like these pieces, overlay parts that kind of bring some detail to what could be a kind of plain figure. Going over articulation, there's a ball going down to a hinge in the neck. You get forward, you get back, you get a little bit of tilt, swivel. Like I said, I can't get the shoulder on mine to go up too far, but on the other side, it goes up to about right there. Then it swivels around. Swivel at the bicep, double elbow. That shoulder pad comes up to about right there. Hinge and swivel at the wrist, swivel, hinge up and down for the gun hand, side to side on the left. Hinge at the abdomen. You can crunch forward, but that's when the shoulder pads start kicking out. It's wings. Swivel at the waist. Ball going out to the hip can come forward all the way, back, out. About 45. Swivel at the thigh, hidden nicely by that strap coming out to the pouch on the hip. Double knee, because of the thickness, it doesn't really get much more than a single knee. Swivel at the boot, hinge at the ankle, goes back, goes forward, and then forward facing pin for rocker. For Deadpool, ball going down to a hinge in the neck, looks forward, looks up, not so great up. No tilt, swivel. Hinge and swivel at the shoulder, comes out almost to 90. Swivels around. Butterfly joint at the shoulder, goes forward. If you raise the arm up to about right here, you can get more forward, and then rotates really far back. Swivel at the bicep. Double elbow comes up a little past 90. There's not a lot of cutout there in the bicep. Hinge swivel at the wrist. Swivel, hinge. Hinge at the abdomen. Kicks forward that far, back. And when you get going there, this belt likes to ride up, and then you get a lot of gap up here at the shoulder, so you got to bring that back down. Swivel at the waist, ball going out into the hip, can come forward, back, out, again, only about 45, if that. Swivel at the thigh, double knee comes damn near all the way up. Swivel at the thigh, hinge at the ankle, back, forward, and then forward facing pin for rocker. For accessories, cable comes with two larger pistols. I do believe these are based on Nerf guns, going by other people's comments. I don't know Nerf guns at all, but it's cast in a metallic dark gray. And then he also comes with a big, huge, honkin' futuristic gun. I like the detail on this, but the gun is a little bit cumbersome in his hands, only because of the way it's shaped and how thick it is. Now the two pistols, they're molded in plastic. They're solid, but when you get to the big gun, it's hollow. Just two pieces of plastic sonic welded together. And the guns go in his hand pretty easily, but man, that is some tough hands. They don't really want to spread out. It's hard plastic there. But I kind of wish there was an alternate left hand with a trigger finger so you could dual wield. But as is, he can come across, he can hold the weight of the gun. It's not too bad. And then you could store the double barrel, whatever thingy it is, in this kind of hoop on his hip. To put it in backwards, and I got it in earlier. There we go. And not terrible. It doesn't get in the way of his arm because you can't bring his arm down all the way. It kind of fills in the gap right there. But for this big-ass gun, it's very awkward, very long, and this is also a factor in loosening up that elbow. Can't bring his arm up, you can't get it under, you can't get it against his shoulder. He can hold it cross, but he holds it very not cool, with the stock being up over his arm. So it's not bad. I like the attempt, I like the concept, but I don't know, it looks like he's just kind of lumbering forward with it, which, again, 90s, that's what it did look like at some point. I just don't like it in action figure form. For Deadpool, he comes with two swords, and while I like the sculpt of these, and I like that they're straight, I think they're new, they're different from what we usually get with Deadpool. They seem awful small, which again may be a 90s thing, but you put it in his hand, and it's not very you know, impressive. They're more like daggers. And then you could put both of them in the scabbards on his back. It just gets kind of tight towards the bottom. But tight's not bad. They don't fall out whenever you get into flippies. For comparison, here's Cable with the other more recent Marvel Legends Cable, and it's blatantly a modern design, and I'm okay with it, but man, 90s goodness, it just looks so good over there. But really, they're the same size, so it does work as the same character if you wanted to put some kind of, you know, history of Cable on your shelf. And then here he is with the Marvel Select Cable, which is essentially a statue with some articulation points thrown in. I don't even know why I still have this one around. And then for Deadpool, here he is again with the more recent modern Deadpool. I say more recent, I think this Deadpool and the modern Cable was 2 years ago now, almost. But you can see the size difference and then of course the design differences here. This is definitely a classic, maybe first appearance type Deadpool. And then here he is with the HasCon exclusive X-Force Deadpool, just to give you a size comparison with a Bucky body type figure. And then here he is with the Mezco 1/12 Collective Deadpool. Going back to Cable for a minute, just because I remembered the Colossus figure, here he is with the modern Colossus in all his bearded glory. God, I love that head. So Cable's not huge, but he's pretty big. So at the end of the day, like I said, a little frustrating with the looseness, and I'm gonna have to work on a couple of the joints, but the 90s look here definitely makes me want more X-Force characters. And now while I was into them back then, as I grew older, I thought, man, Liefeld's art is kind of wacky. But give me a good figure and I want them. And I want this team too. But while they have their problems, you get these into a pose and oh man, they look damn nice. I can't say enough about action figures that make me want more figures of teams or characters that I didn't think I wanted until I saw part of them in plastic. And that's what these two Marvel Legends do for me. Sure, I love Deadpool, I was gonna like it anyway, but if I had a choice, well, I don't know. I have Deadpools all over the place, so I can't really choose one. I have the Modern over here, I have the Mezco over there, I have the Rebel Tech over here, I have some customs, I have the HasCon, I'll have the other X-Force out here sometime in the next week. I have a lot of Deadpools that I can't decide which one goes on the shelf. But this one, this will be my old villain Deadpool. That'll go with this Cable and Shatterstar, and I think there's another X-Force member coming out that I can't remember. But we need some Boomer or Boom Boom. We definitely need a new Cannonball. I'll take Richter. I'd take all of them, just based on how good these two look. Maybe not function, but they look good. So if you like the review, comment, like, subscribe. I'll catch you on the Fwoosh.